Hi, and welcome back to this video. So, we have a lot to cover today, but first I'm going to address some changes, some obvious things that maybe some of you who haven't seen me in my little hiatus maybe wouldn't know. So number one, here she is, the elephant in the room. Your girl shaved her head. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. I am mentally ill, so I did, in fact, shave my head in my own bathroom. Girl, you know how to. When I put my finger up, I was like, pinky up, Dr. Pepper time. Okay. But I shaved my head. It's already grown out a little bit. I did have it hot pink. Now it's like this lavender color. This is like the closest I've ever had to a pastel. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the background's a little different. My desk has moved to a different location in my office. So now we just have these little, the part of this flower thing here, little signs that I've got here. This is part of like an Alice in Wonderland theme set, and that one's like the creepiest one. So of course it's the one that's showing, so. Tight. There's that. The other thing is that I have been gone for a while. Before we get into everything, this is going to be kind of a mix of like makeup and mental health, a mix of like a chatty get ready with me, and I tried to kind of structure it a lot when I tried filming this before and it didn't really work, so now I think I'm just going to kind of go freeform, and hopefully me being myself will let me relate to you all the best. So I'm gonna start putting on some makeup, just something to do with the hands, but before we get into that, make sure you like, comment on this video once you watch it, and subscribe. It would help me out a lot. So first things first, I've been doing my eyebrows with lipstick. I've been enjoying doing like a matching eyebrow to my hair. It is kind of hard for me to talk and do it, but I'm still thinking about how I want to title this video. The title of it may or may not be, I went back to the psych ward, and here's why that's okay. Whether or not it's the title, that's what we're going to talk about. Partially. I'm going to tell my little story, but the reason I'm doing this now is because it's relevant now. Like, these are recent events for me, but also because it's May now, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Girl, it's my month. I'm not even wearing pants today because it's my month. Yeah, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and Mental Health Awareness Month is really important to me because I am a mentally ill person. I'm a mental health worker. I have a long history with mental illness, mental health care, things like that. So, okay. Girl, you gotta look in the mirror. I don't know if I can talk and do my eyebrows. They're a slightly different color, but you know what? We're imperfect around here. Okay, so that's the eyebrows done. Sorry, I couldn't talk and do that. We're gonna put on a little bit of foundation, and we're just gonna talk about it. So maybe saying that I went back to the psych ward, I've been there, this is my second time. Maybe saying that I went back feels like dropping a bomb. Maybe it feels like, well, that's really personal. Why'd you share that? But A, I've already gotten personal on this channel, so girl, what do I have to lose? And B, I don't want it to be that way. You know, we don't have to hide it when we go to the hospital for a broken bone or, you know, any other issue, but we feel like it has to be this big secret if we go for psychiatric care. At least that's how I've felt for a long time. Like the first time I went to the psych ward, which we can link my other mental health videos, Kayla, if you want to pop up a picture, but I have makeup and mental health psych ward survival kit part 1. I still might do part 2. This isn't technically part 2 to that, but this is a similar subject. But I talk about my first trip to the psych ward in that video, and I'm gonna say some different things in this video that I did in that one. That one was like my hopeful it'll get better video, and girl, I stand beside that 100%. It does get better. Please have hope. Please don't give up on yourself. That is 100%. Still, I stand behind that. But I was coming from a really good place when I was in that video, and I've been having a much harder time more recently in this video than I was in that first one, because it was like made retroactively after like a year since I had been to the psych ward. It was like a year after, and it's only been like, girl, like a week and a half since I went this time. We're still struggling a little bit, but that's okay. But anyway, what I was saying was, the first time I went to the psych ward, I felt the need to hide it. I didn't tell 90% of people in my life. I didn't, you know, not that you would always post your hospital stuff on social media, but I didn't post about it on social media. Even some of my close friends, it took me a while to tell them. Even people who I knew wouldn't judge me and would be supportive. I felt so much shame around it because I was like, you know, I'm crazy. I'm just not as strong as other people. They're not gonna get it. Like, they're gonna think bad of me. And that is what we call stigma. There is a huge stigma around mental health, around mental illness, around neurodivergence in general. A lot of people aren't educated on it. And there's a lot of really negative stuff out there that people believe about mental illness. There's a lot of people that believe it's not real. There's a lot of people that believe you can just get over it. There's a lot of people believe that if you just diet and exercise right, you'll be happy and you'll be fine. A lot of people are against medication. Even people within like certain religious communities that feel like it's a sin or that you just need to pray it away. And that's not to dunk on anybody's religious beliefs. That particular mindset is harmful. I want to talk about my experience this time around with the psych ward. I want to be open about it because I want to be a part of breaking the stigma. And that's not to say that if you're not ready to talk about your mental health stuff, then you don't have to talk about it. But I am ready. I have a little tiny platform. I have some people that might be listening, and some of my other older mental health videos have been getting some comments recently about like, this really helped me. And that means a lot to me. And I want to help people because my goal is to be the person that I needed when I was younger. This is one of my unhealthiest coping mechanisms. Hashtag non-spawn. We're going to be talking a little bit about depression and being in a bad place and suicidal ideation, stuff like that. So if those things bother you, this is your trigger warning. And maybe don't watch the rest of this video, or watch it when you're in a good place or when you think you can handle it. But if that's going to be a problem for you, that is completely okay. You're still loved and accepted here, but feel free to click off the video. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Okay, I'm going to use some of my DD's Signatures palette. These are so good. Okay, I gotta learn how to talk and do makeup again, guys. I say guys as if this won't get like 30 views, but you know what? It's us. 30 people. If one person get something out of this, then that's enough for you, girl. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about what's been going on with me. Mental illness is funny. Like any chronic illness, sometimes you can be doing pretty much all the right stuff and your illness still acts up. And that's another thing about stigma, is that a lot of people think, people think it's inherently something you did wrong that causes a flare-up, and sometimes it is, but really, sometimes it's not. Sometimes, like, my flare-ups are caused by maybe like a stressful event, or maybe me not taking my medicine or being on the wrong medicine. Like this time, I have gone into a really severe depressive episode, and I haven't really been able to identify why. I was skipping doses for a little bit, so when it initially happened, I was like, okay, this is probably due to my spotty taking of my medication. That has happened before, and normally maybe in like a week, 2 weeks tops, as long as I get back on taking it regularly, I'm fine. I got back on my medication and it persisted. It didn't go away, this depressive spell. Because I have, hi, hello, my name is Haley. I have 5 diagnosed mental disorders as well as experience with an eating disorder, so that's technically 6. That is what it is. Some of us, those are just the cards I've been dealt, So, we're doing peach. Revolutionary. We're gonna get a little more serious. We're gonna get into some orange, and some purple. This is all over the place. Sincerely, I apologize. Oh, I was saying I have 5 mental illnesses because sometimes you don't know which one's gonna act up. Like, I get panic attacks, so maybe it's a panic attack. Maybe it's something to do with past trauma. Maybe it's depression. Maybe it's something to do with my OCD. Like, you don't know. Or maybe it's a combination of all of them. But this time around, it is depression that's really been kicking my ass, as the professionals would say. My depression has been under control for a few years now. As soon as I got on one of my antidepressants, I was doing good. Like, I've had trouble with anxiety, trouble with OCD, trouble with like trauma things, but never really my depression. Like, I've been good on my depressive side for a few years, but just all of a sudden I got this severe depression that wouldn't go away. It was your textbook depression. Some days I wasn't going to work because I couldn't get out of bed. I just was really sad and empty and lonely, and some days even showering and brushing my teeth felt so hard. Like, making meals for myself felt so hard. Doing anything other than laying in my bed and watching TikToks felt so hard. Like, and the worst part for me this time around is that I lost interest in things that I love. So if you're wondering where I've been, that's where I've been. I was doing some makeup, but I didn't want to film it. I didn't want to, sit down and talk to anybody. I kind of lost interest in reading. I was reading so many books and then I just stopped reading. I was writing a book and I just stopped writing, and I couldn't care about any of it. It just felt so pointless to me all of a sudden. And that was probably the worst part, because like those things are the things that make us feel like ourselves. Those things are the things that we get up in the morning for. That's why we do what we do, is to do the things that we love and enjoy. So it was really hard to just not experience those things in a joyful way anymore. And even YouTube, like watching YouTube videos, not even making YouTube videos, became hard because I couldn't pay attention to like long form content. So like really TikTok was, like, as dumb as it sounds, TikTok was the closest thing I had to a hobby for a while. You know, that led to a downward slope. Like I really felt like there was no hope for me because we tried everything. We tried adding medication, taking away medication, like I said, going on new medications, upping medications. I increased my therapy a little bit. I was talking to my support system, the people in my support system, like I was doing everything that they tell you to do. It wasn't working, and that happens sometimes, and I still don't have a good reason for it. I still don't know really why this happened, or if I'll really ever know, or if it's just part of life. So I just started to feel really, really hopeless, and like nothing was gonna fix it. You know, I've dealt with suicidal ideation in the past, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. That's hard to talk about, and it's hard to listen to somebody talk about it, but it's the truth. I think some people may not ever understand what that feels like, but just know that it's very real and it's very difficult to deal with. And I wasn't necessarily at that point yet, but I felt very hopeless, and I was like, I don't want to get to that point. So my therapist said, hey, maybe it's time to try to go back and get some psychiatric care. So I went to an emergency room at a local hospital, and they were really busy. We waited there for hours. They didn't have any rooms available, so I just stayed in the waiting room the whole time. And while I was in the waiting room, the doctor came up to me after they did some blood tests and some like urine tests, and he said, hey, so you know that you have hypothyroidism? And I said, yes, I know that. Hypothyroidism is when you have an underactive thyroid, which is an organ in your neck that controls like hormones and your metabolism and things like that, if you're not aware. He said, your levels are off, so you need an increase in medication, and that might be what's causing your depression. I was happy with that answer because I was like, great, I have a cause, so if I increase my medication, this will go away. So he told me to double my medication and to go home. He said, you sound like you'll be safe at home, so go home, double your medication, follow up with your regular doctor soon. And I was like, okay, great. So that's what I did. But I went back to my regular doctor, and I still wasn't feeling great, but I had hope that it was gonna get better. Put this on here. I'm doing a blue now. I had hope that it was gonna get better, and that's obviously really important. I followed up with my regular doctor in a few days and told him what happened, and he was like, so I looked at your levels and they are off, but not off enough to justify doubling your medication, in my opinion. He said, basically, I don't think your thyroid would cause this level of depression unless it was like much more off than it currently is. And I was like, you know, I'm really frustrated. Like, I don't know what is causing this. I don't know what to do. He's a nice enough guy, but he kind of wrote me off. He was sort of like, well, you know, you have a psychiatric history and sometimes these things just happen. You know, I get that maybe he's a human being. He doesn't have all the answers, but what that did is that it took away my hope, because I thought, if I just stay on this higher dose of my thyroid medicine for a few days or a week, I'll get better. And then with what he said, it took away any hope that things were gonna change in the future. And I started to feel, gotta do a wing, we're gonna do this wing. It's not like normal, gotta fill it in. But I started to feel like nothing was ever gonna help me. And I started freaking out, and I called my therapist and I called my husband, and I basically told him, like, we need to do something now because I am feeling horrible and I don't know what to do. We tried so much, you guys. We tried to go to this psychiatric urgent care, but they said, oh, we're only taking appointments. And I was like, then that's not an urgent care. Like, what? So then we couldn't go there, and then we just went to the nearest hospital. I didn't want to go back to the hospital, but I went to the nearest hospital. I had to go through the kind of traumatic experience of what is currently our mental health system. You have to tell so many people what's wrong and be so vulnerable with these strangers. And you know, at this particular hospital, they escort you upstairs to the psych ward with security. You have to like change in front of security, and that didn't feel good because it was like, you know, I'm not a threat, but you know. I mean, I get it, there's risks and there's dangers, but it still doesn't make you feel good. And then I spent 4 days and 3 nights in the psych ward, and I'm gonna say what I said in my first video, or a variation of it, which is that I never want to discourage somebody from getting help that they need. Is the psych ward perfect? No. Is the mental health care system in this country perfect? No. Are there downsides? Yes. But I am never gonna wake up and sit here and tell you, oh, don't go, it sucks. I will go back if I ever need to. That's my promise to myself and the people that I love. If I ever need to, I will go back. And if you need to, please go. Please go. But my stay at the psych ward, you know, it wasn't the greatest. I wouldn't go back to this hospital. The first hospital I went to wasn't my favorite either, so I thought I'd try somewhere new. But this one was honestly worse, so I'd go back to the first one if I only got to choose between the two. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm hoping we don't go back, but I do have a chronic condition, and if I ever need to, like I said, I will. And I'm not gonna be ashamed of that. Period. It was hard. It was a hard experience. It's hard to be isolated. It's hard to be so, honestly, bored. So bored and understimulated. It's hard to feel like nobody trusts you. And there's gonna be differences, like not every experience is going to be the same, not every hospital is going to be the same. There might be differences depending on like the people that you're in there with, the staff, your particular situation. It's not a one size fits all, and it's not a my experience is guaranteed to be your experience type of situation. But this particular hospital, you know, they weren't great. They had a lot of stuff that I think as a mental health professional and as, you know, a human being, I think they could improve on, because there was a therapist that immediately thought that I was delusional, and I told her about some of my past trauma, and she, in less intense phrasing, for all intents and purposes, she said to me and in front of one of the groups in group therapy that she thought I was lying. And I was like, girl, this is like day one, you don't do that. Do not invalidate somebody's experience. Do you see delusional disorder in my file? No. And that's not even how you deal with someone with delusional disorder anyway. So, girl, get on out of here. I was there for 4 days and 3 nights, eating hospital food. There's no visitors because of COVID, so I really miss my family and my dogs, my husband and my mother-in-law. Like, that's my support system, like my best friends. I really missed everybody and just like wanted to feel like myself again. But I was like, I'm here because I need treatment, and I'm here because I need to get better, and I want to do that. The care here just wasn't the best. They said they were going to start me on a new med, and they didn't. The nurses never seemed to know what my meds were. I'd have to like ask for them. Just not the best care. And honestly, by the time I got out, I didn't feel like I was much better off than before. I'm not saying that's going to happen to everybody, but I'm still glad that I went, because for 4 days I was in a safe place. Me being safe is very important. You being safe is very important. So I will still say, go if you need to. Yeah, I got home and I was still so depressed, and I was like, I feel like nothing is gonna help. And I've honestly been in that place for like a month or two now. I don't even know how long it's been. That's what's been going on. And I finally, the last couple of days have been okay. I'm having a good day today. I did a little craftiness. I made myself drink some water yesterday. I've been getting back to work. And you know, drinking water does not sound like a big accomplishment, but when you're really depressed, and also when you're me, drinking water is an accomplishment. So I'm counting it, girl. And I'm on, my regular doctor started me on a new medication. I'm not here to advertise medication, so I'm not gonna say, you know, what I take and everything, but she tried me on a type of medication I've never been on before, and I think it might be working. I think it might be working. And does that mean I'm not gonna have hard days? No. Does that mean that it's a miracle cure, or, you know, things are never gonna be hard again? No. But am I extremely thankful, you know, in the midst of this, that I'm getting a couple of good days? Like, really today is kind of the first really good day. Yesterday I had some good moments, but I still had some hard times. But I also like didn't sleep enough and drank enough caffeine to kill a cow. My body is a Chuck E. Cheese. Maybe you're going through it. Maybe you are in the bad times right now. Maybe you're in a place where you're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's gonna fix it, and I feel like giving up. I'm here to tell you, please don't give up. There are things worth living for. There are things about you that are so worthy and complete, and you may not feel them right now, but other people want you around, and you should want you around too. Say everybody really did hate you. That's one thing that my brain tells me. My brain tells me everybody hates me. Even if they did, that doesn't take away my worth. Even if hypothetically they did, which they don't. It doesn't take away my worth. That's what I gotta tell myself. And you know, coping skills are important. And maybe when you're having I'm trying to find some bludge. Girl, where's the bludge? How did we get here? I used to know you so well. Okay, we're gonna do the Fenty cream blush, because I put some powder browns around, but it didn't set my face. So coping skills, like when you're doing well, when you're having you know, a good couple weeks, couple months, establish some coping skills. Then find out who are your emergency people, who are your people that you know will listen to you and will support you. Maybe save TikTok, save videos, like something that made you feel hopeful. If this video makes you feel hopeful, you know, like it and save it. And that's not me just trying to get likes. Any video, like if somebody's content makes you feel like, this makes me feel like I want to be alive, a poem, like the Neil Hilborn poem, The Future, I have it tattooed on my ankle. Your favorite quotes, like saving that stuff, like surrounding yourself with that stuff, and save them for a rainy day. And then, you know, you can be like, I need this today. Let's go back to what healthy me was. Let's see what she was talking about. And making sure, like, of course, drinking enough water, eating a healthy diet, getting exercise. Do I always do those things? No. Do I need to do more of those things? Yes. Do I believe that they are a cure for mental illness? No, but I do believe that they are a good coping skill. Good ways to just make sure your body feels good, even if your brain doesn't. Those are good things to do. Figuring out easy things that you can do when you're depressed, like buy meals for happy you, but also buy meals for depressed you. Girl, buy that hungry man dinner if you need to. We're just happy you're eating. Doing things halfway is better than not doing them at all. So like if you can't, ooh, she smells like pumpkin spice. Hold on. I started a sentence, then I started to put on lipstick as if that is gonna work for me. Doing things halfway, like if you're like, I just can't do my dishes, do half of them. You know, if you can't bring yourself to do all of them, do half of them. If you can't bring yourself to clean your room, just clean the side of the bed that you're currently vegging on. If you can focus on your hobbies, but if you can't, figure out what you can focus on, because like all I could do was TikTok, but doing TikTok was better than doing nothing and better than being stuck inside my brain. So girl, do TikTok. There are always things that we can do. I am not an expert. I have obviously very hard days, but this is just something, hopefully a resource and something that some of you can relate to. And you know, I've been rambling, I've been talking, and we did the makeup. It's a little, ooh, look at her, cover girl. And that's my nose ring, by the way. It's not a booger. That's your whole body talk. Is that how it goes? Don't smite me from above, RuPaul. Yeah, so this has been my Chatty Get Ready With Me, somewhat makeup, mental health awareness month, just Haley being Haley type of content. Yeah, let me know if you do want any more makeup and mental health videos, if you want a part 2 to the psych ward survival kit where we can talk about other things that are good to do, do's and don'ts of the psych ward, things that'll help, tips, things like that. Let me know if you want that video, if there's a certain topic that you want. Like I do have quite a few disorders that I have experience with, so if you want a video on one of those, let me know. And I would love to see the comments on this video. If this helped you and you feel like you can say that, I'd love to hear that. But if you can't, you know, I still see you, I still love you, you're still valid. So this has been the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and I hope to see you again.